On ZoomISO, I have set up the recorder. I just want to record just for practicing because I've been having some issues and I'm trying to figure out what the cause of those issues are. I think I've nailed it, but or I've identified it at least, and I have a solution in place, and I want to be testing that today, if that's okay with you.
Oh, absolutely. That's everybody would appreciate knowing about that.
Yeah, I'll gladly share. Like you know, I'd love to share it with you. I have no problems with that.
I woke up with arthritis in my thumb. It's driving me crazy, so I have to.
That's no fun.
I thought you were joking. Sorry to hear that. That's actually horrible.
It clicks, and it sticks.
Uh-huh.
And do you know how the advantage of opposing thumb? That's a fundamental of our species. That is a fundamental.
Oh, I've just received a reminder that the Zoom test kitchen is starting.
Oh, really? Gosh, some people think of you all the time.
Okay, stream is up. You can hit record when you want. Well, David's not here right now. Need to make somebody the co-host so I can drop.
You can make me co-host if that's necessary, just from a technical.
Or host, I mean. I'll make you host for now. Which Robert should I make host?
It's the one with the camera on.
Okay.
That's helpful. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Okay, so we are recording now, and we are live to YouTube, right?
I don't know if the meeting is recording. Is it?
It says recording.
Well, it says we are, but that's because Robert is doing a local record.
Okay.
But if you, Robert, if you want to start a cloud record on the hosted account, that'll work as well.
Um,
Can you do that? Since you have the privileges to do it, and then the cloud recorder will be based on your monitor. Yeah.
Yeah, it's running. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I've discovered now. I've seen where one of the issues with Zoom, the new beta version of ZoomISO is if I select active speaker and Jeff starts talking with his camera off, it freezes the last frame of the person who was speaking previously that had his camera on. They've been trying to figure out what's going on, and then this is exactly what's happening.
Huh.
The good news is that it unfreezes the frame once a person with a camera on starts speaking again. So it doesn't catch the active speaker if the active speaker doesn't have his camera on. It just freezes the last frame that it had. Okay.
I wonder if
Good.
that's by design.
To fill the image?
Yeah, like a holding image.
I really don't know, because when you set up ZoomISO, you actually define what should appear as the image if it
that's
doesn't
true.
get a feed. You know, so.
Oh yeah, I remember. So David is signed on, but he did indicate that he can't get involved till 1/2 hour. Yeah. Okay. All right. So yeah, you guys can kick it off, and I think there's plenty of stuff on people's minds, you know, as far as wanting to test, and I saw some discussion on resolution and mobile devices, and all that as well, that behavior. So that's popped up again. But anyways, well, I've got to go out to the airport and do our thing, and I thank you guys very much for helping cover and keep it alive.
You're welcome.
We've missed you, Jeff. So
Oh,
it's
I've
good to
missed
see you
being
again.
here. It drives me nuts having to send out a cancellation email week after week, and I'm like, daggone it. But at the same time, it's work, and I mean, you gotta go do that as well. So I just gotta figure out, whether we'll have to poll. Maybe you guys can ask and start getting a sense of whether a different time or day or something like that would be doable, kind of after hours Central Time or a weekend. But I'm not sure how well a weekend would work either. But anyways, we'll figure it out, see if it can stay alive.
What will work for you, Jeff?
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to say evening, but my evening would take you out of the running altogether because you'd be sleeping. If I said, 6, 7 o'clock Central, what are you, 7 hours ahead of me?
Yeah, that'll be 1 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
So that'll apply to the whole of Europe. So anyone from Europe will get knocked out by that.
Yeah, that may not be a good option. I mean, I could more easily do a late Sunday afternoon than, like, Saturdays are, chores or fun with, family or whatnot. Saturdays, I would not want to stop on. Sundays midday is church, but after church, when things are spinning down, I could do a Sunday late afternoon, like 4 o'clock Central Time, and that actually would be predictably good most all the time for me. But I have to work for the majority. Okay, I gotta run. They'll wait for me, but not all too long. All right, thank you guys. We'll see you.
Good seeing you, Jeff. Take care. So Jeff Ray, is there something you want to lead in with?
Nothing from my standpoint. My day-to-day dealing is generally just trying to get people to learn how to be better presenters in this, what I call, very intimate medium. And I do about 30% of my time training people for live on stage, and then the rest of it this way. So I have to switch between Teams and Meet and Zoom, and they all have their own special challenges. But I'm not producing anymore, and I'm not taking the TD role. So I'm happy to just support the event. I'll I'll try to chatter a little bit, and otherwise just let it free roll. You're here for a good reason, and that's, ostensibly that's what it's designed for. David can't make it for about 40 minutes, and so we certainly can cover that time with your test. And anybody else that happens to come in, I sent a couple of notes to people and who had reached out to me in the last 2 weeks to say, hey, where is it going? And other than that, I have no real contribution unless somebody has some suggestion about the way I sound or look, or funny stories that I don't tell. So that's my limit.
Oh, Gerald is
Here we
around.
come. This is Gerald. We were part of his event where I was lucky enough to get paired with you in a breakout room. I had to leave pretty quickly, but
I noticed. Yeah.
you said nice things. But in the interim, I beat up Gerald a little bit to say, well, I'll wait till he gets on. There he is. I beat him up just a little bit to say, listen, you got a classy program there. I want you to upgrade your look and your image. Instead of being Mr. Casual, it's not, you're on TV, man. That's so I just trying to encourage you. But I thought you had a great event. I was glad to be part of it. I look forward to it. Can't hear you. You have to unmute that Zoom thing.
Thank you for the feedback, Ray. I appreciate the comments that you sent on LinkedIn. Screenshots and all.
Well, it begins with your head at the top of the frame. That's where it begins, because otherwise it's one thing to be a casual observer, but if you're a casual observer, then don't turn on your camera because other people are working at improving their image. What I do for a living, I teach people how to be the best look of all of these frames. And I wish that for everybody. Sometimes I force it on everybody, but I wanted to be candid with you because I was so impressed with your event.
Well, the reason you were impressed had a lot to do with production planning that Robert has done. And it's our second month in a row. So Robert and I have been too busy to even debrief it yet. But the good news is the second one went better than the first one. So we're getting better. And, learning different roles and responsibilities and learning how to stream it on all the available platforms. So we were able to get it streaming on LinkedIn and YouTube. So that was a valuable accomplishment.
It was indeed.
So I'm looking forward to number 3. It'll get easier and better. And especially
Gerald, for the people that were not part of it, tell us what that event was.
We had a Zoom webinar event for a summit, the Artificial Intelligence Innovation Summit for ChatGPT and related apps. And on the third Thursday of every month, we bring together 5 speakers that all give 15-minute presentations using 20 PowerPoint slides to share some content. And so Robert and I had to collaborate to have each speaker be available when they're supposed to, have them share their slides, and have them be on screen when they're supposed to be, and keep the timing going. So we had about 500 people on Zoom webinars, which is what my license allows and so forth. And then we had a bunch of other people on the live streaming that we're doing while it was being simulcast. So that's an overview of what the Innovation Summit is. It's on the third Thursday of every month. As a matter of fact, what I'll probably do is put a link in the chat for you so you can see the event.
Good idea.
And we've developed a really strong following of good speakers, good attendance, and good content, all at the same time.
And when you finished the presenters, then they broke everybody out into small breakout rooms and revolved around, and people in the whole idea that people would start interacting. And I think it was a big success.
Yeah, the networking portion, people were hungry for it, and they spent a full hour, and we had about 50 people for the networking event, of which 30 people stayed to the very end. And I usually have a tradition for those people that stay at the very end, is they get to introduce themselves to everybody. And so that takes a half hour to introduce everybody. But I'm making steps towards building a community of artificial intelligence fans and experts and leaders. I have a LinkedIn group for AI that has 1 million members in it, 1,005,000, and that continues to get recognition by LinkedIn for high engagement. It's got an active badge. So again, I put in the chat the link to the AI Summit. It's a LinkedIn events page. You'll see that we've had speakers from IBM, Microsoft, have upcoming speakers from Accenture, Northwestern University, a nice selection of diverse speakers have inspired people for the 2 that we've had thus far. So there you can see the event in the chat. And thanks again.
And wish you continued success. I had a good time, and Robert clearly is a strong support. Let's open the Zoom test kitchen today with the announcement that Jeff is not going to be with us today again, but he didn't want to let us hang any longer without at least having the opportunity to interact with each other and discover the kind of things that Zoom Test Kitchen was designed for. Our co-host, David Paskin, is going to be here in about a half hour. His schedule was booked for the day, but I see we have some new people and we have some returnees. Tom, I don't think we've met before. Have you been to Zoom Test Kitchen before?
Yeah, off and on. I haven't been on probably in a couple of months, but I tune in when I can. I often have a Friday conflict, so I try to catch it live when I can. It's good to see you.
Where do you come from today?
Based out of Eastern Washington, Washington State, Spokane, Washington.
Great. John, I don't think we've met. John Cannon, where are you from?
This is my first time. I stumbled across the website and the link for this earlier in the week, trying to chase down something with Zoom, and thought it sounded like a very interesting platform and forum. So I am here to kind of see what it's about. I am in the Akron, Ohio area.
Well, we're glad to have you. And I think we've seen pretty much these other faces. This one called Kenneth, I see him a lot. So I'm not sure if it's here on the test kitchen, but Ken, we're glad to see you. We're
Glad to be
the-
seen.
Yeah.
I've been a lurker for a long time. I drop in occasionally to listen to what's going on and always find that it's valuable. And I'm curious to hear the conversation about the newest and greatest things that Zoom has done. I noticed there's quite a few things that are actually becoming apparently available to those of us who are single operators rather than members of the corporate structure. And that's interesting to me. So I'll be listening and occasionally adding a word or two, but mostly on the sidelines. Nice to be here.
Good to see you. And I see Fred from Phoenix. Greetings, Fred. I don't think I've met you before. Is this your first time at the Zoom Test Kitchen?
No, I've been here on and off, I think since the beginning. I haven't been on in quite a while because I work on Fridays now, but I took the day off and I saw it was here, so I thought I would come and listen in.
Glad. We're glad. This guy, David Paskin, who said he wouldn't be here until 3:30. Now we can't talk
I'm
about it.
early. I'm early. You know what it was? I missed you, Ray. I missed you so much.
We're glad to see you. I do know we've been given a little advance warning that Robert has a test that he wants to do. He's a high user of all things Zoom. Robert, tell us what this experiment is you want to do.
Hi, everyone, and good to see you all again. I am using ZoomISO on a Mac Mini Pro M2, and what I've been practicing and figuring out is how to record the individual ISO streams on the same machine. In other words, I don't leave the machine and record them on the same machine. It's been very difficult to find, and not using hardware. So in other words, I don't want to go out of the Mac Mini Pro and into some sort of device that will change the signals into something that I'll record on whatever mechanical device that I have. I've been trying to do it with an app, and the limitation on the apps is been the issue or the challenge that I've been facing. However, I have found an app that I'm using at the moment, and it's running on NDI. So I'm actually running NDI out of ZoomISO straight back into the same machine and recording those feeds. And at the moment, I've managed to record 16 1080p streams, ISO streams on that machine. Initially, and here is the challenge, that I've been recording to a NAS, which is external to the Mac Mini Pro. In other words, it's a set of hard drives that are in a specific configuration. And this is all on a 10 gigabit network. So I thought I wouldn't have any restrictions there. However, with this recording app, what I do is I define the primary recording drive, which I've been defining as the NAS, and a secondary fallback, which I've been defining as a local drive connected to one of the Thunderbolt outputs on the Mac Mini Pro. And it's been falling back. And the fallback is quite painful because it takes 10 seconds. The app actually takes 10 seconds to switch over to the fallback device in the recording. So that's been a challenge. So I've been playing with it. And at this point, what I've decided to do is record primarily to the local device, the Thunderbolt device, and have the NAS as the fallback while I'm waiting for a second 10 gigabit card to put into the NAS so that the amount of data doesn't cause any restrictions going in and out of the NAS. I have been monitoring the data. The Mac Mini Pro is just, it's half asleep doing all this work. It doesn't even notice that it's going on. The amount of data that's going in and out of through the network from the Mac Mini Pro is minimal. It doesn't go over 1.5 gig. So that's not the issue. and the NAS itself seems to be running between 50 and 60%. So maybe this is where I thought, since that's the highest usage, maybe that's where I need to pay some attention to. So that's what I'm doing today, and I am recording to see how it works and to look at the stability. The quality is really high. It's really good. The sound is in sync 100%, so I don't have an issue with that. And throwing all of this, of course, into DaVinci Pro, you can sync everything with the sound right from the beginning with a clap test or whatever, because I'm not using timestamps, and then just edit to your heart's desire. So that's what I'm doing in the background today.
Can I ask a couple of questions? So, what's the recording app that you're using? Did you mention that? I'm sorry, I think I missed it.
No, it's called Live Recorder, and it's an app that's produced for IPTV, where they record locally just for production purposes.
And so you have one app grabbing all 16 or however many ISO feeds and recording them all separately?
Correct.
Wow, that's nice.
It's taken me a long sorry, carry on.
Yeah. No, I was just going to say, when you started speaking, my first thought was, well, Ecamm can do that, kinda. It'll record up to 4 isolated video tracks, but because that's so processor intensive, it caps it at 4.
Yeah, I am aware of that. I also I started off my journey using vMix, and that was just a disaster. I have a huge i9 processor based big machine, and it was just getting up to 100% and just shutting off. It just couldn't cope. And that's why I decided to move to the Mac, to the M2 platform, and try it there. But I couldn't find a recording app for the Mac that would use Siphon, because that would be ideal if it could stay within Mac completely. I couldn't find one, and so I had to resolve to using NDI. And from what I'm looking at monitoring the network, even though it's pushing out the NDI, since no one's asking for it, there aren't that many feeds apart from the 16 that are being sent out. Yeah? So that's pretty low usage.
It's interesting to me, Robert, that ZoomISO doesn't have a built-in way to record those. It just dawned. I'd never thought about this before, but I mean, it's grabbing all the isolated feeds. You would think that it could either send them somewhere or capture them and record locally.
Well, according to the people we're not allowed to quote, it's in the pipeline.
And someone's asking, Tom is asking in the chat, it was Live Recorder? Is that what it was called?
It's called Live Mind Recorder. It comes from a company called Live Mind Recorder TV. And it's actually Andy, I spoke to Andy about this, and he said that that's what they've been using for all of their tests, and that's it. And
Mac only?
No, it's Windows as well.
Yeah,
it's Linux as well.
I've got it.
Just click on the download free trial. It'll show you the different platforms that it uses.
Yeah, Windows 64, Mac OS, and Linux. Linux. Sorry about that.
Linux.
Audio up to 16 NDI sources. Wow. Is this free? Did you say? I'm sorry.
You can get the free version to use for 1 month, and then I bought a license for the yearly license fee it's minimal. It's just under $100. So it's nothing that from a production point of view is
$75. Look at that.
Oh, you got even a better price. So
I got a better price. Oh, because where I live, probably. Wow.
So no, I think it's to do with taxes.
This is not yearly, by the way. This is one time. I think
Because you're in Boca.
it's because I'm in Boca. Wow.
No, I'm seeing it in Canada as well, David. I can confirm. One time.
Brilliant. So that's even that's strange. That means the company's not going to be here for too long. But according to Andy, they've been around for a while because he's been using it to test ZoomISO since they started off. So,
Huh. This is great stuff.
it took me a long time to find an app. So, and I've got another app, but the other app is Windows only, and it has I have a sync issue with audio properly. I've spoken to the supplier. I can't figure it out, and my network guys can't figure it out. So that's sort of a non-starter. This
Robert?
one is nice because it also has a start all recordings button. So you can set them up and just press one button and it'll start all of them, which is really nice. I like that. And you can actually see it running in the background. I don't know if you can see it there. Don't know if that's visible or not. No, it's not very good. But,
That's actually a nice multi-view though of all the of all the participants also.
you can set it up to 3x3, 4x3, or 4x4, depending on the amount of feeds you want to record. Yeah, so it's good.
What's the device you use to make your multi-view?
It's part of that app.
Wow.
Yeah, that just gives you a screen, and then you can configure whatever you want at the individual level. So you can record one view on one hard drive, the other view on a different hard drive, or you can set it up for global settings. It's actually a very well practically thought through app, and it's simple. Yeah, it's really simple.
Thanks, Robert. That's certainly a excellent discovery. I know I'll try it. Who's got something else they want to talk about? Ken, you talked about some of the new things that are popping up in Zoom. What intrigued you? You want to run through the list?
Well, I don't know if I have a list, but I just happened to be noticing a few buttons that I hadn't pressed on recently. And now it appears that